Hi, this is Amalia Holm in my interview, my stay-at-home interview for the Russian portal Oops Music. And I have received a bunch of questions that I will read out loud and answer. Here we go. Tell us about your role, Scylla, in the series Motherland, Fort Salem. How did your character influence you? Did you learn something from Scylla, and how similar are you with her? Well, Scylla, what I learned from Scylla was how to flirt, maybe? I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint what I learned from that specific character. I mean, I learned a lot from working with the character because this was the biggest project I've ever been on, and just being in that completely new situation with myself and the people around me, it taught me stuff. I don't know, I felt like I grew a little. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it was about, as it often is with growth, and I think it's also because I'm probably still in that growth, so I wouldn't say that I'm stepping up to the next level of being alive. We're similar in the sense that we want to do the right thing, and we're kind of stubborn, both of us. I mean, for the main part, what the biggest difference between us is that I'm way too diplomatic, and diplomatic would be the word, or like aiming for constructivism and always trying to see both sides of things, whereas Scylla is much more black and white. She's a radical, and I feel like I could probably never be radicalized because I would doubt and start questioning things, especially within my own perception of the truth. That's not similarities, that's differences, I'm guessing. That could be interesting to hear too. Next question. What difficulties did you encounter during filming? Well, for me personally, it was a big challenge to work in English, as it's not my first language at all. But that was also a lot of fun. Big challenge to be away from home, maybe? I mean, we were in Vancouver. I live in Sweden, so we were in Vancouver for like 4 or 5 months. I guess that was a challenge in a way. And to do a villain, I don't know. It's hard because sometimes I feel like challenges should be stuff that you've struggled with. But all the things that would count as challenges around my character work with Scylla or working on Motherland was, I don't know, a challenge in the sense that I had to do my best. I had to be at my best game every day to deliver, because it was, the stakes are so high on a project that's at that scale. And sometimes because, like, one day, maybe the rest of the cast or a different part of the production would be shooting big action scenes that would require a lot of stunt work and technicalities and stuff, and machines maybe, and vehicles. Then on another day where it's mostly about an intimate scene or at the same stage in a studio or so, you kind of feel like at those days we had to work at a higher speed in some sense. So that was a challenge, when it's not physically and practically needed to take all that time because you're going up like on a hill or you're doing something very practical, then sometimes you'll have to compromise with time for conveying those emotions in an emotional scene. And that could be stressful at times, but I felt like there was also a lot of respect for the emotional scenes. And playing Scylla, I'm mostly involved in intimate emotional scenes so far. Okay, next question. Do you communicate with actors outside the project? With whom most? Yes, I talk to all my fellow cast. We have group conversations, and we just interact in different ways. And different social media. We would, if it weren't for the COVID virus world takeover, we would have been meeting in Texas for the world premiere at South by Southwest in March, and we'd all really looked forward to that, getting together with Elliot Lawrence, the creator, and Kevin Messick, producer. So now that we couldn't, we all miss each other a lot. So I think that's why we're talking more than usual too. And then I used to keep a special contact with Demetria McKinney, plays Anacostia Quartermain, because we just do. We just FaceTime a lot. I love her. Do you have a favorite scene in the series? I do. I mean, from the first episode, the Salva scene when we float in the air, that was just such a major green screen kind of behind the scenes work that I was just blown away and had to pinch myself for even being part of it, because it was just so much fun. I'll send you a picture that you can add into this, because there's a behind the scene picture where you see me and Taylor Hickson playing Rail Collar up in the air on these like cranes almost. Yeah, on cranes that aren't mechanical, or I mean, it's still mechanics though. Anyways, they aren't automatic. They're manual, so to say. They require manual labor. A guy, or it could have been a female too, but a heavy person had to be leaning onto the other part of it so that we could go up. It's almost like one of those, you know what I mean, the things like you flip on the playground, kids play along with. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. And yeah, that was amazing. That was so much fun to do just because of it. And then I have some other favorite scenes that aren't shown yet, so I can't talk about them. That's one. Oh, and here's a big one. Question 5. If you were faced with a choice, love or career, what will you choose? Well, I mean, I'm of the opinion that love and career should be, I mean, that the person you love, or that the person who claims to love you should be accepting and tolerant of your career decision. But if it comes to it, and it could be love of my future children or something, I'll choose love, absolutely. And hope to get around it in some way. I mean, acting. I never thought acting would even be my career. I have an education on the side, because I never thought this would actually happen. So I'm still kind of prepared for that to end, because it's such a sketchy business in that sense. So love doesn't sound too bad either. What's the most important for you in life? Wow. Well, I guess it's love. Yeah. That answer led me to that. Love. Laughs, maybe. Sun. I mean, being a Swede, we just long for sun all winter year. So, what's the most unusual gift you've received from fans? These days, I'm just receiving so many marvelous fan art pictures of Scylla in different situations. I haven't received anything very unusual yet. This is not a challenge to anyone. Don't send me anything weird. Do you have an idol who inspires you? So many people inspire me. I've never really had an idol. I tried to have an idol in 2007, and I went for Britney Spears. Just because I felt kind of sorry for her, and I wrote her a letter even saying, like, if you ever come to Sweden, we can go bowling. I want to be your friend, kind of, but no pressure. That was the sense morale of the letter. That was the message I was trying to convey. Other than that, who inspires me? Oh, this is the kind of question that I feel really pressured about, because I just want to honor and thank everyone who's walked before me. And that's like everyone who lived before I was put on earth walked before me, and all the cultural, musical, science, like all the progress that's been made in all fields is inspiring. And well, I don't have a good answer. I'll say my mom. She's definitely someone I admire in many ways, so I'll go with her. Leading up to question 9, do your parents support you in everything? Do you often listen to their advice? My mom and my stepdad, they were kind of reluctant to the thought of me pursuing a career or in theater when I was younger. We weren't allowed to go to drama school when I was like 16. But now they're very, very supportive, and my mom is calling herself like later. What was it calling? I'm translating from Swedish. It's like stage mom and older age kind of thing, which is cute. I listen to their advice a lot. First I overthink, and then I think again, and then I think again, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I should always call mom and just ask what's up. And then she's got an opinion, and then I can't listen. Like, I can't follow her exact opinion, so I have to twist it and twerk it for my own sake, just for my own sense of self. But I think I almost always follow her lead. We're very alike too, so it's just like a more experienced version of what I would think. What role would you like to play in the future? Oh, what role would I not like to play? Like everything that's nuanced, complicated, but also things that are shallow, and because they could be very hard when you can't put a real person to it. Would be the thing sometimes with like real character parts. So, what role would you like to play? I'd like to play. I don't know. I think it's fun to play around with different levels of intelligence. I'd like to play a really stupid character, but also a highly intelligent and emotionally intelligent and emotionally stupid as well. Yeah. I like to play characters that are weak. And yeah, because I think it's harder for many people to sympathize with weakness. Don't get me wrong; like a lot of people feel pity towards someone weak, but just actually sympathize with them, and for a weak character to earn your sympathy, I think that's very interesting. It's easier to just follow and admire and sympathize with someone who's strong and obviously doing the right thing. It's harder, I think, to sympathize with weak women, and therefore that's a challenge. Because my challenge as an actress is always to get you to sympathize with my character. Sorry for yelling that. I just what qualities you value most in people? I value honesty. I value humor. I mean, most activeness, active thought process, I guess. Oh, sorry for my hand. Speed of thought, high speed of thought. That's fun. Yeah. It's supposed to be one thing, I guess. So, how do you like to spend your free time? With the people I like in contact with, or in physical contact with, or now in FaceTime contact with, the people I love, and also new acquaintances. It's people. I like people. It's like people don't want to have free time anymore. people being like generalizing totalis, like that's many people are still going to work, of course, because having to earn a living and not having a mobile, flexible job like an actor could have, for example, or a student. Moving on. Do you listen to Russian music? Do you know any Russian artists? Oh God, this is a fun question. My first big like scene experience, that like my first memory of watching something and being like really mesmerized by what was happening on stage was when my mom took me to see the ballet, the Nutcracker. That Nutcracker, yeah. So Tchaikovsky and Swan Lake. Oh wow, that theme is great. It's so great. Sorry for saying someone who's not alive anymore, but Tchaikovsky, yeah. And then Pussy Riot. Pussy Riot is cool. Haven't heard too many songs, but my favorite would be I Can't Breathe. For the symbolism and the music of it. That's the one that's most my genre of their music. But on the note of Russian music and culture, it must be noted that last spring I was actually admitted to a university course in the Russian language, but I had to drop out because of work. But I'm wanting to learn much more about Russia, and me and my friends were hypothetically planning like a sailing trip to St. Petersburg, but we yet have to acquire the skills of managing a boat that far from Sweden, that is. So I'm coming for you, Russia. Could you tell us some secrets about your future projects? I have a Norwegian series coming out this fall, if we manage to shoot the last part of it within Corona-friendly limits. So that's yet to see. It's called Delete Me. It's going to be on the Nordic, or like on Viaplay, and it's been shown in Norway, Sweden, and some other countries, I think, and hope. And then some other small things, but hopefully, in most, I'm having my fingers crossed for season 2 of Motherland, and we're gonna find out pretty soon. A few words to Russian fans. Well, of course I have a few words to Russian fans. What I want to say is just я надеюсь, ты смотришь Motherland, Fort Salem. And have a good time. Take care in these times. Stay at home. And try to get some sun. Stand by the window. If you can, that is. I also have very much respect and admiration for those who need to work for the protection of their families and for society as a whole, and therefore are putting themselves at extreme risk. Take care, and this too shall pass. Bye!